A wandering sage once arrived in a small village. There he met a kind-hearted man named Rohan, a simple middle-class villager. Rohan greeted him warmly and said, "Holy man, please come to my home. It would be an honor to serve you." The sage accepted his invitation. Rohan's wife and 2 daughters welcomed him with deep respect and love. When the sage was about to leave, he blessed the family, saying, "May your home be filled with happiness and success." Rohan smiled gently and replied, "Sir, even this won't last forever." The sage was surprised and asked, "What do you mean?" Rohan said softly, "Nothing in this world stays the same, Baba." The sage nodded thoughtfully. 2 years later, the sage visited the village again and was saddened to learn that Rohan had lost everything. His home was sold, and he now worked as a servant for a landlord. The sage hurried to meet him. Rohan now lived in a small hut. His clothes were torn, and his meal was just a piece of dry bread, yet his face still carried the same peaceful smile. "Forgive me, Baba," he said. "This is all I have to offer." The sage's heart ached. Oh God, how could this happen to such a good man? Rohan laughed softly and said, "God has given me enough. I've learned to find peace in what I have. What's here today may not be here tomorrow." The sage looked at him in awe and said, "You are the real saint." 2 more years passed, and when the sage returned once again, the story had completely changed. Rohan was now the richest landlord in the region. Astonished, the sage asked, "Brother, how did this miracle happen?" Rohan smiled and replied, "My old master had no children. He was so moved by my honesty and loyalty that he gave me all his property." The sage rejoiced, saying, "God has truly blessed you." But Rohan simply smiled and said, "This too won't last forever." Many years later, the sage came to the same village once more, but this time, Rohan was no more. The grand mansion stood silent, with pigeons cooing in the empty corners. Rohan's wife was frail and ill, and his daughters had married and moved away. The sage walked quietly into a room and saw Rohan's photo hanging on the wall. Beneath it were written the words, "In the end, this too shall pass." The sage smiled gently. He finally understood. Rohan had been the true sage all along, the one who stayed calm, grateful and peaceful through every rise and fall. Everything else, happiness, pain, success, or failure, keeps changing like passing clouds. If today you are joyful while someone else suffers, or you are struggling while others celebrate, remember this: neither joy nor sorrow lasts forever. Time keeps turning, and life keeps flowing. The beauty of time is that nothing stays for too long. So instead of chasing what fades, nurture what remains, your soul. Keep it pure, keep it peaceful. Because when your soul is calm, every situation in life, whether good or bad, feels beautiful. That is where true peace begins, and that is the real purpose of life. If you agree, then write "true" in the comment box if you believe that gratitude and peace are the real treasures of life.